In the twilight of the Cold War, a relatively small, deceptively simple missile quietly changed modern conflict. The R-17, better known to the world as the Scud. Born in Soviet design bureaus and exported across continents, the Scud became an icon of short-range ballistic power. Crude, brutal, and shockingly effective. Even in 2026, its legacy lingers, in arsenals, in tactics, and in the way nations think about missile warfare. Wikipedia plus A1. The story begins with straightforward engineering. The R-17 Elbrus was a tactical ballistic missile developed in the 1960s as a successor to earlier Soviet rockets. It was compact compared with ICBMs, transportable on wheeled transporter-erector launchers, and flexible in payload. Conventional high-explosive, submunitions, and, even in theory, nuclear or chemical warheads. That combination, mobility, payload, and cheap mass production, made the Scud a weapon that could be fielded widely. And that is exactly what happened. Wikipedia. Millions of dollars of sophistication weren't needed to make the Scud dangerous. Its early variants, like the Scud B, R-17, had ranges around 300 kilometers and accuracy measured in hundreds to thousands of meters. Imprecise by modern standards, but devastating when aimed at cities, bases, or staging areas. Over time, engineers coaxed greater reach and tighter targeting from the same basic frame, producing a family of variants, extended-range Scud C models, and later the Scud D with markedly improved guidance. These changes transformed a blunt instrument into a more capable tactical missile. Wikipedia plus one. What makes the Scud story uniquely modern is not just the rocket itself, but how it spread. Manufactured and copied in multiple countries, the R-17 and its derivatives served in armies from the Middle East to Africa and beyond. North Korea produced its Hwasong copies. Iraq adapted Scuds into longer-range Al-Hussein variants. Libya and Iran fielded their own versions, and non-state actors even improvised launchers and modified warheads. The global diffusion of Scud technology created a new reality. A relatively low-cost, easily deployed ballistic missile could be a strategic tool for actors with limited air power. Wikipedia. In conflict, Scuds acted as both weapon and psychological lever. During the Iran-Iraq War, Iraqi Scud strikes forced population movements and altered military calculations. In Afghanistan and later Libya, Scud launches were used to terrorize, to coerce, and to attempt deep strikes where air campaigns were impractical. The missile's inaccuracy paradoxically heightened its strategic effect. Even when it missed military targets, the terror of an incoming ballistic rocket reshaped politics and battlefield decisions. Wikipedia. By 2026, the Scud family is no longer the cutting edge of missile design, but its fingerprints remain everywhere. Several countries still operate Scud variants or derivatives. Others evolved the basic ideas into new systems. Modern conflicts have shown how older systems can be upgraded with newer guidance packages, command networks, and smarter targeting. The Scud D, for example, represents an evolutionary step, a short-range missile with improved guidance that narrows circular error probability dramatically compared with early models. Those upgrades illustrate a broader lesson. Old airframes plus new electronics can produce surprisingly capable weapons. Missile Defense Advocacy Alliance plus one. Tactically, the Scud's value in 2026 is in flexibility. Transport-erector launchers make it hard to pin down. Mobile batteries can disperse, shoot, and relocate. Even in an era of satellites and drones, a relatively low-tech weapon that can be launched from rural roads or hidden clearings complicates an opponent's defense calculus. Add modern communications, battlefield networks, and reconnaissance drones, and a legacy missile becomes part of an integrated strike system, faster to target, harder to preempt. This blending of old and new is the quiet revolution the Scud enabled. Wikipedia. But there's a darker side. The Scud's history is stained with civilian suffering. Its inaccuracy, when directed at urban areas, has caused mass casualties and long-term trauma. Humanitarian organizations and arms control advocates point to Scud campaigns as reasons for stricter oversight and disarmament efforts. The missile's spread to fragile regions heightened risks of escalation, accidental strikes, and the erosion of conventional restraints, problems that remain urgent in 2026. Wikipedia. Technically, the Scud family teaches important engineering lessons. A liquid propellant single-stage missile with a simple guidance suite, it was relatively easy to produce at scale. Variants experimented with fuel types, tank linings for longer storage, and reworked warhead assemblies. Attempts to extend range often sacrificed accuracy. Finders of modern designs learned that propulsion, guidance, and payload are a three-way trade. In recent decades, the best approach has been not brute force range extensions, but smarter navigation, terrain matching, satellite augmentation, and inertial updates to turn an old frame into a more precise threat. Wikipedia Plums 1. Looking forward, the Scud legacy matters for policy as much as for engineering. It is a case study in proliferation, how relatively basic designs can be adapted by many actors, how battlefield utility can trump arms control norms, and how inexpensive weapons can change strategic calculations. For defense planners, the message is clear. Countering such threats requires not only interceptors, but intelligence, mobility denial, hardened shelters, and diplomatic measures to limit spread. Wikipedia. Finally, the Scud reminds us of an uncomfortable truth about modern warfare. Sometimes simple tools shape history as much as advanced ones. The R-17 was never elegant. It was not the fastest, nor the most accurate. But it was rugged, exportable, and terrifyingly effective when used for strategic pressure. In 2026, its descendants continue to teach the same lesson. Technology diffuses, adaptations emerge, and the human costs of ballistic warfare demand constant attention. The Scud's shadow remains long, a warning that in geopolitics, old designs can return with new ferocity.